Welcome, everyone, to Path of a Magdalena. My name is Diane Brenneman, and it's my pleasure to have with me this month Caroline Houle. Caroline is a coach and an energy practitioner. She started out her career actually as an accountant and worked as a financial officer. She now coaches people who own their own businesses and often does individual coaching as well. Caroline has been extremely active in the Magdalena program, and it is my great pleasure to welcome her to be with all of us today to have a conversation about discipline. Caroline, welcome.
Thank you so much, Diane. So happy to be here with all of you.
No, it is our pleasure to have you.
Hmm.
Would you like to start us off today with a bit of a centering meditation to bring us all fully
Yeah,
present in this moment?
absolutely. Thank you.
Great.
So, we'll be using one of the favorite centering meditation that I use in the morning or just before something that I need to be fully present. So, I invite us all to close our eyes and maybe just take a few seconds just to realize that our heart is beating and our lungs are functioning fully. And being grateful for that, for this movement that is not only keeping us alive, but allowing us to manifest a rich and fulfilling life. And feel the sole of your feet. Perhaps you haven't paid attention to your toes or to your feet since you woke up this morning. And just bring your attention there and slowly just move your attention from your feet to your ankles and slowly, slowly to your knees. And maybe just already feel the difference between what's going on between your feet and your knees and the rest of your body that you haven't paid attention to yet. Perhaps you feel some movement, a change in temperature, or perhaps nothing, and it's okay. And keep moving your attention from your knees to your hips, and again feel the difference between what's going on between your toes and your hips versus the rest of your body. And realize how powerful you are just with your will, with your attention, to create almost automatically a difference in your body. And then from your hips, including your arms, all the way to your neck. Do you feel a movement? Do you feel a difference in this wonderful vehicle that is your body? And now slowly at your own pace. You can just open your eyes and be ready and fully present to receive what it is you wish to receive with us.
Thank you, Caroline.
You're welcome.
So, Caroline, our topic today is discipline. Help us to understand how it is that you think of discipline. How do you define it?
I'm so happy this question is being asked to me today and not 5 years ago. The answer would have been very different. Oh, I used to have a, I don't know, distorted relationship with discipline. So today it's a friend. It's a friend of mine. My definition of discipline is being the disciple of something that is greater than me. For instance, I like saying that I have masters I choose to serve. For instance, my goals, my ambitions, my desire outcomes. And then I become a disciple of those masters, and I use discipline as a constant movement or actions that are going to help me become a disciple of those masters. So that's the way I see it. And it's true for every aspects of my life. Yeah.
So, to be a disciple involves a movement. Speak more to that.
Yes. I think to me when I envision a disciple, a real one, like what Mary Magdalena was for me, um, she had to make several decisions, um, use uh, her qualities, her resources, use everything she could to to serve as a disciple. And so discipline for me is the thing or the energy that helps organizing those movement or those action or those decisions in order to be a disciple.
So, taking action that drives you to a certain outcome, a certain
Yes.
path.
Yes. And the outcome could be something that I wish to accomplish, a way that I wish to be for myself, say creating a new version of me or a enhanced version of me, or aligning my personality to my soul. There's always an outcome, and discipline is a series of movements or actions that are going to help me becoming that or reaching that being the goal or uh, the what I wish to achieve. Mm.
So, as you say that, Caroline, it seems to me that we're probably always inside of being a disciple to something.
Yes,
You agree with that?
I totally agree with that, and it's a matter of choosing what is it that we wish to serve, who or what, or yeah.
And that perhaps part of the process of awakening, or an essential process of awakening, is realizing what you are a disciple to actually in this life that you may not be aware of.
Yes. Yes, because when I'm aware what I'm choosing consciously, say that one of my goals is to align that my personality is becoming more and more at the service of my soul or my higher self. This is a destination or this is a way of being. I'm consciously choosing that. And then I will be taking actions in a disciplined way to reach that. But if I am not choosing consciously, then the master I'm going to be serving are the patterns that are really deciding for me because I'm not making those decisions consciously.
Caroline,
But yeah.
I'm sorry, can you think of things that you've been a disciple of unconsciously that you
Hmm.
never choose again to be a disciple of?
Oh, so many things. Do we have many hours? um, rigidity.
That's a good.
Yes.
So talk to us about that.
Yes. So I used rigidity a lot of way of being into this world. I used to until I realized that I was doing that, and the cost for me of serving rigidity as a master. And I was very disciplined at resisting everything that seemed new, challenging, out of my comfort zone. So I was disciplined at bringing up this rigidity, this reaction, those tensions in my neck and my back and everything. I was so good at it because this is something I had done a lot. I was really, really good. I could have thought how to do that because I was so good.
Caroline, I love the fact that you use being a discipline of rigidity as an example because it seems to me that a lot of people confuse rigidity with discipline. What do you think
Hmm.
about that?
Yes, yes. I don't think when we're super rigid, let me put it in another way. So to me, discipline is be able to follow a path that I'm know it's going to lead me somewhere. Okay. And always repeating the same actions, the same decisions, the same things that will lead me in a place where I know that where it's going to lead me. Doesn't I don't know if it makes sense, but anyways. um, so rigidity is, as opposed to discipline, rigidity is, for me, it's refusing to see um, that there are other paths or other ways of doing things, as opposed to rigidity, as opposed to discipline, where I have chosen a series of steps, and I know that if I follow those steps, I'm gonna automatically end up in a certain place. I'm not too sure if I'm clear.
Yeah, I think so. Caroline, something that you said kind of at the beginning of that was feeling that rigidity in your body. And to me, because I practice a lot in the area of somatic therapy, body-based therapy, anytime we feel that rigidity, that tension, it is a sign that we're inside of a state of fear.
Yeah.
And to me, the distinction is that discipline is not fear based, rigidity is fear based. When I'm inside of a place of rigidity, it's an attempt to control things.
Hmm.
Right? It's an attempt to do something to try to control my external world. And I do it over and over again to try to get a certain outcome. Discipline, on the other hand, there is much more of a flow to it. You're doing the same things over and over again, but you're not in that space of fear. You're in that space of intention and you're in that space of choice. And so for me, I see that as something that's very different. What is your experience like?
Yeah, when I'm listening to you, it feels like that too. It feels like maybe rigidity and discipline could achieve the same thing, but not at the same cost. Meaning that when I follow a flow, the flow of discipline, I'm going to reach my destination, but it will be so easier for me. Just like I can imagine myself floating on water, you know, realigning my boat if I have to, having my destination in mind. As opposed to rigidity, I could reach a place with rigidity, but at the cost of tensions in my back, in my neck, overspending energies, struggling too much, against pushing against, as opposed to following the flow. But I think that if, in my case, I used rigidity in the past, it's because it was serving in a way until I realized that there were better ways for me to serve my goals, namely
Yes.
discipline as opposed to rigidity.
And rigidity comes at a cost to the soul, right? Because
Yeah.
we're actually empowering fear and we're not empowering love and light and
Yes.
grace.
Serving
As
the
you just,
master, serving a master, which is fear as opposed to love and trust and faith and
that's one of the things that I've heard Her Holiness Saima discuss on so many occasions. And that is how when we discipline ourselves, we can begin to trust ourselves. What do you think about that?
that's absolutely true. I mean, to me, because if I use discipline and I see what it brings in my life, then I know that it's working and I can trust the process and I can trust that I'm making good decisions for me and that the way I choose to achieve or the direction I'm taking using discipline when it's working, I can trust that it's going to work again and again and again and again. And I can trust that if I made a decision that brought satisfaction in my life, well, chances are that next time I make a decision, it's going to be good again. So yes, it's reinforcing my self-trust and my trust that I can choose wisely.
Yeah,
Both, yeah,
I,
both this
Go ahead, Caroline. What were you saying? Both what?
both a destination and how I'm going to reach this destination.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think of it too as being that I can trust myself to actually show up for myself, to show
Yes.
up to take action that serves my highest. And that when I make a commitment to that, because so much of discipline involves practice, routine practice, then I know I have the capacity to show up and do what's necessary to to create that.
And also, I can trust that I will make any adjustments that are required if I have to when I see that everything I'm doing is not driving the results that I'm looking for. So I can trust that if I start let's say a discipline like my morning sadhana or something, which is a form of discipline, I can trust that if I choose a recipe, then it's not exactly working for me, then I'm just going to make some slight changes that will be more satisfying, more fulfilling. It's still discipline. So within the discipline, there's no rigidity as
Yes.
opposed to what we said before. So it's supposed to give me something positive. If along the path I feel that, I don't know, I was spending 5 minutes in my set and I'm doing something that at the end it's not really serving me, I'm just adapting it. I remain this, I keep my discipline. And within this discipline, I'm going to just change what's not working.
As you say that, Caroline, what comes to my mind is the importance of the difference between rigidity and discipline, in that one empowers me to be in the present moment,
Mm,
choices from the present moment, whereas rigidity is really sticking me in the old, well, that's the way I've always done it kind of pattern, right? So you're trapped in the past as opposed to really being able to adjust and flow in the.
yeah. Yes. And there's a sense of empowerment also
Mhm.
because um, just like you said, it's all I've always been doing it this way, so let's continue, or it's the recipe that I've been given and I'm supposed to stick to it. Okay. But if I feel empowered and if I use my discernment, not losing my destination in mind or the results or the outcome that I wish to achieve, then I will put aside rigidity, use my discernment, create some changes, and reorganize my discipline so my discipline works for me.
Yes, so I have the power then to move, which is, of course, how you define discipline in part
Yeah.
to begin with, right?
Yes.
And
Yes.
That power of discipline then causes me to be able to deepen my trust of myself,
Yeah.
which creates more of a sense of power within me.
When I think of a disciple, I see a person who's as his eyes wide open. It's not a person going blind, following someone blindly, following a master blindly. It's someone who still is connected to the inner need that made that person choose a master in the first place. So when I stay connected to that, to my power, to my need, then it's easy to see how his discipline will serve me. Going back to originally my intention, my my aspirations. Okay.
So, Caroline, when I think about power and I think about how discipline empowers me,
Mhm.
I think about when I show up in a new way of being over and over again, how that helps me to break programs, emotional and mental programs that have been driving the ship of my life from my subconscious. And that discipline is really the vehicle that
Mm.
gives me some freedom and choice in this life. Has that been your experience? And if so, can you describe what that's been like for you?
Yes, absolutely. I think without discipline, I could have never act upon my awareness. I mean, sometimes it's easy to say, oh, I became aware of something. I had a haha moment that I was cut into this pattern and things like that. So, in my case, before I was using discipline to make better choices for me, I could only witness that I was cut in my patterns. I was aware of those patterns, but I didn't know what to do with them.
Mhm.
As if it's a good thing to be aware, but without action, nothing much is happening.
Awareness only takes us so far.
Yes, yes, it's a start, but it needs more. So the more for me has been learning techniques and learning tools and learning many things to help me break the patterns, choose differently, introduce new patterns or new way of being. And at first it had required a lot of awareness but also discipline to be acting when I became aware and not just witnessing that I was aware without doing anything. So the discipline helped me do something with it, choose what I wanted instead of what was there automatically. So without discipline, we wouldn't be having this conversation, my dear Diane, for sure. I wouldn't be here with you.
And I wouldn't be here with you, Caroline. No doubt about that.
Yeah.
No doubt
Uh,
about.
and I'm so glad that it was so simple after all. When I think about it, how discipline makes everything simpler in
Ah,
the sense that it's recreating consciously a step or a series of action, a series of movement that that are so that are the result of my choices now, or will create different possibilities in my life as a result of choices I'm making. But it's I realize also as I'm talking to you that it was hard for me to make conscious new choices until I had experienced something different.
mm.
So when I have experience, once I had experienced something different using disciplines to create something different in my life, then I had two options as opposed to one. And it's easier for me to say, oh, I like this one better. I like better when I'm, I don't know, flexible as opposed to rigid. I like this one better. But to know that I preferred this one, I had to feel flexibility first, taste it, feel it, hear it, and then I like it. And since I like it, but since I have practiced the other one so much, it's only with discipline that I can be more here and less, and hopefully eventually never there anymore.
And Caroline, this is one of the things that really amazes me about being in our human bodies. And that is when I'm such a science geek. I absolutely love all of the neuroscience and all of the neurobiology. And when you begin to read about how quickly we can actually change this container that is our physical body to embody new patterns, to create that, it blows my mind. It takes consistency,
Yeah.
it takes showing up inside of a place of discipline. But when you read a lot of the studies that are out there about, for instance, meditation and the brain and how you can change the size of structures in your physical brain in as little as 6 to 8 weeks, practicing 20 to 30 minutes a day. When I think about how many times you've engaged in the old patterns, and it only takes 6 to 8 weeks of engaging in a new one to make that a new reality for you. I'm blown away by how possible it is for us
It's
to change when we're disciplined.
it's a very little investment when you think about it for an outcome of a magnitude that is quite impossible to embrace until we're there. So when I think about 6 to 8 weeks of my life, it's nothing.
Right?
It's nothing, really. It's a summer, you know?
Right. 20 to 30 minutes a day, it's
Yeah.
nothing. I mean, if we're really honest with ourselves, who can say that they don't have 20 to 30 minutes a day when maybe they aren't being completely focused and and doing something that's productive, right? It really is not a huge investment to know a foundational change.
Yes, yes, and maybe the first time we do it, it's a theory that we read in books or in those studies. It remains a theory for us because we haven't achieved it, but it's a matter of taking a leap or trying it. And saying to oneself, I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna invest 6 to 8 weeks of my life. I'll be disciplined, and I'll see for myself. It's going to be true for me now. And I can trust that it's going to be true for me every time that I will wish to use discipline for something else. Because
Yeah.
when
And
we
then
have yes, when we have the experience, it's much easier to trust because it's not a theory anymore. It's an embodied experience.
it's a knowing.
It's a real knowing, a real one
Yeah.
in the flesh.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. So speak to me, Caroline, about Mary Magdalena. Speak
Hmm.
about how you see discipline playing out through her life.
Yeah. I can only go from my imagination at this point because, you know, I see her. For sure, she had chosen her master.
No doubt. That was intentional, right?
Very intentional. Very intentional. And I think also the way I see it is the surrounding of where she lived her lives in this community, also of living in a community that appeared to me from my very, very remote eyes as a very disciplined community,
Mm.
you know, all helping each other's, you know, achieving chores and being there for each other, everyone having a role to play in the grand design. Although that role, I cannot even imagine the magnitude of that role and how it must have been, you know, unimaginable from my human perspective. I think maybe, I don't know. And that's the power of the community we're in, you and I also, and all the people who are watching. The fact that we're so many together using discipline to achieve, to be on our spiritual path, in our spiritual path, maybe it's serving us. So I cannot imagine how it must have been for Magdalena to fulfill her destiny. But I can only see that without discipline, how impossible it would have been for her to
Yeah.
really rebring your focus to, why am I doing everything I do? Why am I living in those circumstances? Why am I feeling this, the fear or anything that she must have felt? Just bringing her attention back to, what master am I serving? I'm serving this great master, Master Jesus, and I'm being a disciple. And because of that, I'm doing everything I'm doing. And so, and having her community must have been also something that served, helping her by the example of so many people using also discipline with the lifestyle that they had, and all them together serving a cause greater than one can imagine. So when I think of Magdalena, I think there must have been a sense of joy. Yeah,
Yeah. In her discipline,
in their discipline. Mm.
which empowered a freedom in this world that allowed her to take action that without that, we might look and say, how in the world could she have ever done that? Because unlike some of the other disciples who were captivated by their fear, which we can all understand, she was able to choose to stay by master, choose to stay steady and clear and devoted in the most difficult circumstances we can imagine. And
Yeah.
so it gave her choice, it gave her freedom to choose in a very difficult, very, very, very difficult situation.
Yeah.
Which I think takes us back around, Caroline, to what we were talking about before, that difference between rigidity and flow, that difference between something being predetermined in the past and empowering you to have the freedom to choose what serves in the moment.
I think every time we re-choose or we choose against something, or I'll speak for myself, every time I choose against something I have chosen before, and I make a conscious choice again, feels like it's fueling my power, and it's fueling it's refocusing my energy, and that there's no way that I would be able to achieve anything without this conscious creation of movement that I get from discipline.
Yes. And then as we make those choices over and over and over again, it empowers us to make more difficult ones.
Oh yes.
It already may become easier.
Yeah.
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 As our
Yeah.
consciousness elevates.
Totally. Yeah.
You know, when we speak to this, it's so simple to see how really impossible it would be to advance on a spiritual path without discipline.
Absolutely, Diane. I think the old programs, the old programming are taking us away or far from our spiritual path. So we need to overcome the old way of being us if we want to be the real us. The real us being, for me, the receiver of the knowledge from my higher self, or the you know the human vehicle or the physical vehicle that's going to be manifesting what's coming, the inspiration coming directly from source. So if I want to be that, walking on that path, I have to be less and less the old me made of all those old programming. And how can I be that if I don't discipline myself? I don't know. I maybe I'm lacking imagination. Maybe there's another way, but I really don't think so. I
Oh,
really don't think so.
I don't either.
Mm.
And I loved as you were making that form with your hands. I mean, it really, to me, it really was the embodiment, the picture of being that
Mm.
chalice of grace, of allowing
Yes.
flow to come down and in and
And
through.
and just making this movement, it's not even a movement, it's just I'm still, and I can feel the energy.
Mhm.
I can feel it coming down. Just because I'm making the choice of being that in this moment, I can feel it.
Beautiful. Really beautiful, Caroline. Lovely. Our three takeaways this month regarding discipline. Number one, in each moment, I am a disciple to a master. Discipline empowers me to choose what master I will serve. Number two, rigidity is fear and contraction, while discipline is love and expansion. Number three, discipline frees me to release patterns that no longer serve my highest. Our journaling exercises for this month. Number one, what masters am I currently serving? Number two, what actions can I take to sever those patterns that no longer serve me? And number three, what new patterns do I choose to empower through my discipline? Well,
Yeah.
Caroline, would you like to lead us in a meditation to take us deeper into activating discipline in our life?
Yes, absolutely. My pleasure. So I invite us to close our eyes again, because we're with our eyes closed. We can see more, we can feel more. And again, just becoming aware of the body. And our ability to ignite this inner power that we are and that we have. And just as we're breathing naturally without forcing anything, we can trust that our breath will just be perfect, as it is always. Let's just connect our human body to the core of Mother Earth by imagining Ruth at the sole of her feet, but also a special connection that is coming from the base of her spine. Like a huge, you can imagine a huge plug or wire that is going directly to the core of Mother Earth, along with the root under the feet of the sole of your feet. And it's going there and it's connecting. And you don't have anything to do, anything to push on or to pull. It's just automatically you're starting to feel this energy, this power coming from Gaia, Mother Earth, her first mother. And it's moving along the root and this wire, and it's coming into your physical body. And it's filling you up. And it's filling you. You really don't have to do anything. It's just happening. Whether you feel something or see something or hear something or nothing is totally not important. Just know that as soon as you connect yourself consciously to Gaia, Gaia is feeding you automatically. And at the same time, as this movement is recreating itself, you also have a connection above your head. And you can ask, you can command it to go to recreate the connection with Source that I like to imagine that it's above her head, but it's really everywhere. But let's say it's above her head. So this connection to Source with this tube of light. And also automatically as you decide, as you command that you're connecting, this great, great power coming from Source is entering your crown chakra, your brain, your throat, heart, solar plexus, sacred chakra, root chakra, your legs, your feet. And so you're beginning to feel full of this power, this great, great power. That's awakening your own power. And so now there's this power coming from Mother Earth, this power coming from Source. Both are filling you up, filling you, filling you. And as you start to imagine that you're full and that you can't take it anymore, there's no place for any new drop, what's happening is that you're becoming like a fountain. This power, this energy, this light is starting to pour from inside of you to outside of you. So you're pouring light, you're pouring energy, you're pouring that power. And it's non-stop movement. It's continuous. And so inside of you, with your own power awaken, because it's recognizing what's coming in. You can let everything being realigned, harmonized, updated. And maybe we can allow your old relationship with discipline being also reshaped, reformed, to serve you better. Maybe everything you think you knew about discipline, you can let go of it. And use this wonderful power coming from Mother Earth and from Source. And taking all the space in you, you can let that wonderful power create in this instant, now, a new relationship with discipline. Whether you know consciously or not what's going on, trust, have faith that the light, the energy are serving you. And as you are doing that, as you are letting the creation of a new relationship or the modification or any adjustments to your relationship with discipline at the same time, you are pulsating this knowledge, this energy, this power all around you. Because of your connection, you also allow living things around you to also feel connected. To also feel empowered. And to make choices. And what you are doing in this very moment, by allowing this energy to flow through you, it is an act of discipline. You are deciding to be here now, doing that. Feel how free you feel. Feel how joyful you feel. Feel all the sensations there is to feel. Because of this decision and this passive action, but still an action you're taking now in this moment. Of being here, being a pillar of light. Serving all your systems. Serving your aspirations. Serving your goals. Serving your spiritual path. You are here because of your choice. And that choice gives you power. And your power gives you more choices. Which makes you desire more and more. And when you desire more and more, you grow, you elevate yourself. And there's this lightness, there's ease, there's flow. Of knowing that everything is possible. And there really isn't nothing else to do than just choosing and then serving. And as you serve, you become an inspiration for others to serve as well. When you are being the disciple of your master, you're also becoming an inspiration for others to also become disciples. Because they see in you how free you are, how joyful you are, how empowered you are. And just let that be. Let that be your new reality. Let that be your new way of being here on this planet. And you know that at any moment, if you feel you need it, you can consciously reconnect yourself to Gaia, to Source, just so you remember that there's everything in you. Everything is there. So you can really be a true disciple. in your full power, in your full truth. Serving, expanding, becoming more and more you. And slowly at your own pace, just become aware again of your immediate surrounding. Maybe moving a bit your fingers and your toes. And graciously, slowly opening your eyes.
Thank you, Caroline. I so appreciate you being here with us, sharing your insight with regards to discipline.
Hmm.
And my deepest gratitude to all of you who chose to join us today. Much love to all of you. See you soon. Thank you again.